Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Let's start out the week with a little bit of Star Wars. And isn't that starting out the week the right way? Tonight, I'm taking a look at the Bandai SH Figuarts Star Wars Han Solo. Now, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Now, if you ask me to think back and remember how long it's been, I'm terrible at that kind of thing. I look at something that I've had for years and go, oh, well, I haven't had that very long. That's just something that comes along with age. But this Han Solo and the farm boy Luke Skywalker were two of the first figures that we saw from the line, and we weren't even supposed to see them at that point. And for a long time, that's all we had to go by, because we ended up getting Jedi Luke first, and it wasn't until last year that we got the Tatooine Luke, and now we're just now getting the Han. I want to say it's been a couple of years at least. Looking at the package, it's your standard Figuarts fare. It's the big window on front. You see most of the accessories, most of the figure. The silver highlights that they do with the classic trilogy works out really well here. Han Solo, words. On the side we have a pretty picture, more words. The back, most of the solicitation pictures. Han in poses, some of his accessories, and then some unreadables down at the bottom. Probably says something like, does not include nerfs, therefore no hurting. On the side, more silver highlights, Star Wars logo. The top, you get Star Wars logo. On the bottom, more unreadables. I figured this is more legal than the back of the package. Now I'm going to get this open because I've been excited about this, and finally getting it. The Pony Express finally showed up at my house after taking their sweet-ass time to get across BFE. I'm going to see what's going on here. And there we go, all out of the package. And I'm happy, for the most part. Isn't it always like that anymore? Now, there's nothing wrong with the sculpt here. This is pretty much a young Harrison Ford. At some angles, the face looks a little bit chubby, but from most angles, it looks pretty damn close. Harrison Ford has one of those faces that is odd to capture. Actually, I think him and Mark Hamill are the most difficult to capture. It seems like there's always something off there. Maybe it's because their faces are so ingrained in our brains by now that it's just easy to pick out when something's wrong. But I have to say, for 1/12 scale, out of everything we've gotten, this is pretty much the best we have. And I'll take a wild guess and say this is going to be the best we're ever going to get. Now watch Figuarts come out with Bespin Han next and it completely blows this one away. But I'm perfectly fine with being wrong. I got nothing against that. But the rest of the body, it's lean, it's slender. It's, like I said, Han Solo from A New Hope. The belt, the leather parts, the buckles, the little thingamabobs on his belt, all nicely sculpted. Great little details there. The boots, the vest, the shirt, the wrinkles, everything's there. Now the paints, all the base colors are good. I like that the pants and the vest don't match. The vest is kind of a black color, the pants are a bluish, then the boots are back to the black color. But with a sheen on it, I like it. And then overall that is kind of a wash. Not so much on the blacks and a little bit on the blue, but the whites, the grays, the tans, that's what gets the wash here. And then we get to the face. Just like all Figuarts faces, when you get up close, your macro pictures right up on it, put it right up in your face, it's going to look pixely. It's going to look kind of soft, kind of splotchy. But you get it at a normal distance away from your face, you know, like actually holding it in your hand, or put it up on the shelf, it looks like tiny little humans. It's amazing what they're doing here. But this time around, I do have a gripe. Now, just like Hawkeye that I reviewed yesterday, it kind of has a dirty wash over it, like something exploded and he ran through the smoke or something. It's like that on the hands and the face, which is not a bad thing. It kind of brings out the details, and it doesn't look dirty until you get right up on it. The lip color I'm okay with, maybe a little bit dark. It's the eyes here. Now, most Figuarts eyes, it has the iris, the pupil. You can see little details in the eye. With Han here, he doesn't have any of that. It's just kind of a grayish dot in the eye. In fact, at least on mine, it looks like the printing went kind of screwball. On his left side, his eyebrow is kind of missing, and the eye is lighter than the right one. And that's on top of not having the black dot in the center, not having anything around the eye. It's just weird looking, almost like a zombie, or he's been possessed. It's fixable, I guess, but I expect that from a $20 action figure, not one I just paid $55, $60 for. It's not heartbreaking. Like I said, I can probably fix that. But not everybody can. And that's not me bragging. That's just me saying a lot of people aren't into that. So, yeah, they look at it and go, this is screwed up, going back. And then with the hair, it's kind of a black, brown base, and then gold highlights over it. But I don't know if them just wearing me down over so many releases that I'm kind of okay with this. To me, it's kind of like the sun shining off of it. It's glistening. It's just highlights. Yeah, the gold color is jarring at first, but once you get them all together, it looks pretty good. At least I like it. But one nifty little detail that I didn't pay any attention to until I actually got the figure and saw it was the chest hair. Just very 70s. Just very cool. I don't know how easy it is to see on camera because taking a picture of it was kind of a bitch, but just cool that they added that right there. Just a neat little detail that they didn't have to add, but they did. Now for articulation, there's a hinge up at the top on a swivel, and you get swivel, you get down, you get up, you get side, and then there's also the same joint down at the bottom of the neck, so it just amplifies the movement there all the way around. Ball going into the torso, coming out to a hinge and swivel in the shoulder, and that, because of the ball, you can shift back, shift forward, shift down a little bit, shift up a little bit, hinges out to about right there. You got to kind of manipulate it to get the arm into the torso just right, and then up. Then, of course, it swivels around. Swivel hinge swivel at the elbow, comes up to past 90. I like that. Swivel hinge swivel at the wrist. There's swivel and there's hinge. And just like all figure arts, you can hit that sideways and then you can go up and down pretty much any direction you want to go. There's a hinge and swivel in the torso and then at the waist. So you can crank forward, you can come back, you can go side, you can go side. Great range of movement there. And then, of course, there's swivel. Hips, there's no drop down, just like what we saw with Hawkeye yesterday. It's something you get used to in figure arts. It adds range of movement, so when it's gone, you miss it. And I do miss it here. You can get forward that far, not bad, but with the drop down, you'd get more. Back, out. I'm not saying it's terrible range of movement because of the missing drop, but you know what I mean. This side's a little more hindered because of the holster, but not bad. It pretty much bounces around, gets out of the way. You do get swivel at the hip. Single knee comes up to about right there. Kind of a ball joint in the ankle. It gets back that far, forward, and then some side to side. And then a toe joint that comes up to about right there. Now for accessories, Han comes with a couple of sets of hands. There's 2 fists. There's 2 open hands. And then there's 2 open hands that are gloved. And then finally he comes with a trigger finger to hold his blaster. The hands are pretty easy to change. Not a biggie. There's been tougher ones to pull on and off. I always go back to Maul because that was my first big scary one, but not a problem here. Then he comes with his blaster. It's a nice little sculpt, but it's pretty much just black with a silver dot and a wooden handle. No wash here, no extra gray. It seems kind of plain, but the sculpt makes up for it. And it goes into his hand pretty easy. It just goes in and then you twist the trigger finger into the trigger. No problem at all. No prying of fingers, nothing like that. And then finally, a little odd, he comes with an extra holster. He comes with the empty holster for when you have his blaster in his hand, and then he comes with another holster that has the blaster permanently molded into it. And as you can see, that comes off. It's got a rectangle peg. The holster is a separate piece from the leg, peg hole in the leg, and then you just put this in there. I'm not hating on it. I like the look of it. It doesn't look loose inside the holster. And then the empty holster, you don't have to mess with this strap, popping it on and off, trying to keep it down around the gun. But at that point, really, what's the difference of having that and then this and then the gun molded to the hand? I like that the gun is molded separate from the hand, but if you're going to go to these extremes, there could be other options. Now here's the Figure Arts Han with the Black Series Han. We knew there was going to be a difference here. There was no denying it. But I'm surprised to see the Figure Arts Han is actually taller than the Black Series. Usually with Figure Arts, we get a slightly smaller scale. The characters are either even with or shorter than. Here, it's actually bigger. But here he is with the Figure Arts Luke. I like the height difference here. Han is taller, Luke is shorter. This is the way it was in the movie, and that works for me. Here he is with the Black Series Chewbacca. It's been a while, but I think mine is a mishmash of Chewbaccas. And this looks good if you're wanting to mix and match. Han is supposed to come up to about Chewbacca's shoulder, so this works out great. In fact, with a paint job, the Black Series Chewbacca could be the end-all, be-all Chewbacca, but as far as articulation and posability goes, I'm waiting for the Figure Arts. So at the end of the day, is it any surprise that I like this figure? I mean, you're going through this whole review expecting me to go, greatest Han ever. And it really is. I mean, there's no denying it. Yes, mine has a few problems. especially the face, and that may be a huge problem for some people. And really, basically, it is a huge problem. I mean, it's right there on the face. That's the first thing people look at when they look at the figure. It's Figuarts, how's the face look? And mine is a little bit off. It's going to need some TLC. But articulation is all tight, all the accessories work really well, even though I'm kind of baffled about the molded gun in the holster and then having a separate holster. I could have done without that. I would have been perfectly okay with the gun just goes in an empty holster. In fact, when it comes down to it, I kind of feel like that took the place of maybe an extra head or a gloved hand with a trigger finger. I would have liked to have the option for him to shoot with the gloves on. Just that would have been a little icing on the cake. Just a little gravy on the potatoes. Just a little bit of blue milk at the birthday party. I almost feel like as time goes on, Figuarts is kind of giving us less and less. A little bit less articulation in the hips, a little bit less when it comes to accessories or extra heads. I'm missing the extra heads. Or a little bit less quality control when it comes to certain things. But saying all that, still a great figure. Still looks great on the shelf. Makes me even more excited about the Figuarts Chewbacca coming and how it's going to look standing beside this figure. And then it comes down to just a Leia. We need a Leia from Figuarts. We've seen the Old Man Ben, and they will be pretty much done with A New Hope. At least the main characters. I know there's more to be done. We really need a Tarkin. But that's wish listing. I'm talking about Han here. It's pretty great, but I feel like it could be even better than that. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.